by the folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona and away. Joe for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let it go very far.
Go out here for circuit disqualifying Sean. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 the lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the final round, the championship round, here for the iFormula League Formula 3 Series. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here today, 1080p, 60 frames a second, as we always do, getting ourselves ready for the action here today in Brazil, right here at Interlagos. As drivers get themselves out on track and get their qualifying underway here, we're going to start to see what drivers are going to have for pace here tonight, and also going to see who is going to walk away as champion here for the iFormula League for the Formula 3 Series, and it is going to be an exciting day to start off all things racing here on Sunday morning as we gear up for the start of today's event later on. The actual Formula 1 race starts in Miami later this evening. So a lot of great racing to be seen today, and what a great way to kick that off here with none other than the drivers here for the Formula 3 Series with IFL. A lot of great racing has been seen throughout this season, and I expect to see a lot of great racing here today as drivers get ready to kick off the last and final round of their 13-race schedule. And hopefully, when things are said and done here, we hopefully here at Team Goon Squad will make a return back here to bring more coverage here of these drivers and of this league. But that will remain to be seen here as drivers currently out on track, just getting tires warmed up here, just getting themselves in the groove of things as they get themselves ready for their first flying laps here. And I think the first drivers that are going to be coming across that line here to bring us the first official time, Jake Potts, Alex Johnson, Weston Epps, Andre Solander, I believe, are going to be the first drivers amongst the field to put down a time here. Here in qualifying as we get ourselves ready to go, and we await for the first driver to make their way around across the checkered line and put up the first official time. And there it is from Jake Potts, Alex Johnson, and Weston Epps in that order that I mentioned just a little bit ago, and a 128.415 for Alex Johnson, the 196 driver for Intend Sim Racing. Obviously dominating this series by winning a vast majority of races here this season. 11 wins to the 196 driver's name, having a very, very good season for the Drivers' Championship. But when it comes down to the Team Championship, that is where things get even a little bit more exciting, as we have Knox E Motorsports all the way at the very tippy top of the of the leaderboards at the moment for the team championship, the Constructors Championship, however you would like to call it. Intense Sim Racing going to be in that second place spot. Only 95 points separating these two teams at the moment, and I'm not sure exactly how many points are going to be distributed for today's race, but I can only imagine that Noxie Motorsports is going to potentially come away as the Constructors Champion here this season. And as far as the Drivers' Championship goes, I think Alex Johnson is going to be the one coming away with that here today. But there is still one race left to go. Anything can still happen, and there's always a potential for disaster to happen. A catastrophe can strike at any time, especially in the realm of motorsports. So we're gonna hope that none of that happens here today. We're gonna hope for a good, clean race here today for these drivers, and I expect that we will see that here, as it's not uncommon for these drivers to have very good races through and through, as we've seen in the past few weeks that we have been broadcasting for the IFL League, or the iFormula League, as I should say, the proper way to say it here today. Coming across the line, both Leonard Schneebel as well as... trying to find out who that is there next to him. I believe that's Arturo. That was Arturo Mayorga. Both Leonard Schneebel, Arturo going to be side by side there coming across the line. It was kind of a little neat little mini race that they had going on there for a second, but obviously utilizing the full 25 minutes that we have here for qualifying, these drivers are going to want to have all of the time that they can and all of the room that they can to work with, to not have their qualifying laps be impeded on here today, much as what we've seen already in the real-life Formula One counterpart. If any of you have seen the qualifying from that for Miami, it was quite interesting. In the later half of qualifying in Q3, things got a little interesting, but I don't think that's what we're going to see here today for these drivers, as Alex Johnson has a moment where he is not at the top of qualifying. And there he comes across the line with a 1:27.795 in just about 0.3 of a second, we'll say, between Alex Johnson and Weston Epps. The number 4 driver looking very, very good out here today in the number 4 machine. Weston Epps, another driver with Team Noxie Motorsports, going to be out here today. So great to see the number 4 driver out here racing for Noxie Motorsports yet again. And I believe going to be one of the few times that we have got the opportunity to see Weston out here racing alongside the fellow drivers here with IFL. So it's going to be a great thing to see Weston out here. Going to see what he's got in store, and currently sitting in the top 3 here in qualifying, looking quite solid already. Leonard Schneebel coming across the line with a 1:27.748, just a few hundredths of a second separating himself from Alex Johnson. So Leonard Schneebel showing he has got great pace here in the number 88 machine, as well as for his team, looking to hopefully get a good start to today's race. And for Alcantech NHR, I think that's going to be a very good sign for their team, and they're probably going to be feeling pretty ecstatic down there in the pits at the moment. But yet, again, 1:27.748 is the time to beat here. Andre Salander going to be out here 7th at the moment. His best time showing is a 1:28.564. Going to try and increase that time here today. But Alex Johnson, if we're talking about drivers that are going to be looking to have as best of a day as they can here, especially both in the feature as well as the sprint race that we will see here today. And for our sprint race here, let me pull this up. 28-lap Grand Prix followed by a 7-lap sprint. So much the same of what we've seen in the past. A lot of similar setups that we've seen as far as, well, race layout is the word that I was trying to get to. And as we see Andre Salander a little bit off track here, and that is potentially going to void this lap for himself. But luckily, with a 25-minute time here for qualifying, drivers have plenty of time to get out there and put in the best lap that they possibly can. And frankly, it's something that I found very interesting about the folks here with IFL, in the sense that they give drivers quite a bit of time to utilize for qualifying. And from what I understand, it is in an attempt to kind of model what real-life qualifying is like for, well, the real-life Formula 3 counterparts, Formula 1 counterparts, so on and so forth. So, having all of this time to utilize in the sim racing world is very, very crucial. Well, I don't want to say crucial. It's very helpful, I would say, for drivers to be able to get as much seat time as they can before they actually get onto the track, get gridded up, and start the race here. Whether it's just trying to find that extra tenth of a second in a particular corner, or even just trying to feel out where the track limits are, where your limits are, and just trying to see make sure that you have everything as close as you possibly can get it. So, with that being said, with only 10 minutes being elapsed here in qualifying, 15 minutes remaining, again, drivers going to have plenty of time to get things sorted out for themselves. As again, I've mentioned it in previous broadcasts, this is more or less a mini sprint race, if you will, but a sprint race of their own. Other drivers are going to be out on the track, obviously, and it is going to sometimes have an impedance on drivers who are trying to get on their hot laps. They are out there trying to get the fastest lap that they can, and sometimes, not always, you often see other drivers who maybe just coming out of pits. They've got cold tires. They're not exactly trying to push aggressively yet, and sometimes that little bit of traffic can have a hindrance on some drivers trying to get that hot lap, as I've mentioned. Leonard Schneebel still at the very tippy top of the pole here with a 127.748 still. Has not improved upon his best time yet. Last time around, a .75, so very, very close here for the number 88 driver, Alex Johnson. Still trying to push himself as well last time by with a 128.44, so not quite what he's looking for at the moment, but I'm sure in the next few minutes we'll see that time improve by a little margin. And again, we're talking about just mere tenths of a second at this point, as drivers now have, I would assume, have gotten tires pretty well warmed up. Lap times are about where they should be for the fast single lap pace, if you will, as both Leonard Schneebel as well as the 67 of Rachel Jimenez going to be kind of racing along side by side with one another as they go off into turn number 1 here through a bit of S's that we have here. And for those of you that might not be aware, well, I actually haven't mentioned it yet, this is the first time that I will be broadcasting a race here at Interlagos. First time ever being here, and it's great to be here. And so far, I'm loving the track layout. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far, and hopefully it produces some excellent racing here today for us. So, with that being said, I think this is a great way to finish off our last race of the season with a brand new track for myself, and hopefully some really, really great fresh racing here at Interlagos. I expect some great, hopefully, before things start to settle out in our feature race, hopefully some good action in the first opening laps. And once things kind of calm down and drivers get themselves a little bit of room to work with, then hopefully we'll see just how this track kind of flows for these drivers. And for all, looks like 17 drivers that we have currently here today. And looking at the YouTube chat here, we've got some we've got some people out here. Owen saying hello, and we've also got Cody Grams giving a let's go to Jake, Alex, and James. Rooting on Team Noxie Motorsports, Cody Grams, a fellow driver as well, showing his support for his team. And hopefully gonna see them become victorious here today for that Constructors Championship and take away a title here for Season 5 of the Formula 3 Series here with the iFormula League. And for those of you who might be tuning in, who might be watching and wondering, how do I become a part of this series? How do I join the racing? Well, first off, if you don't already have an iRacing subscription, go get yourself one and go ahead and purchase the Formula 3 car as well. That is one thing about iRacing, that it can get a little pricey at times, especially with all the tracks and the cars and things that you end up wanting to allocate over time. But I promise, in small doses, it is not that bad, and especially when you get a lot of great racing like you do here with the iFormula League, it doesn't make it quite as bad. As my good friend, as my good fellow colleague likes to say, James East, it's, you know, a dollar to fun ratio, something along those lines. Says a lot better than I do. But back to the point, back to the racing here. Only about 10 minutes slew. Andres Lander, the 140 machine, getting a little off kilter here. Gonna have to back it up off the wall, and it looks to be he's gonna suffer some damage to that front wing as well. Hopefully, well, he's gonna have to come down into the pits and probably get that replaced by the pit crew, as he's gonna keep it out on track here for the time being. Not a whole lot of damage done to the major important components, I guess you could say. The front wing is a vital part of the car. It does help the car in producing downforce in that like. So we're watching Jeff Schroeder here at the moment, the number 73 driver, ripping some laps here, and kind of tuckered in, or kind of included in the 128 group, if you will, as right now between P3 all the way to P10, we've got only a 0.5 of a second spread between all of these drivers, and Arturo Mayorga is very, very close to being included in that bunch here as well. Cody Graham saying, hashtag retired. Yeah, that's probably the good life. And Nicholas Marshall saying good luck to Tristan Marshall in that he is in San Diego, and so he can't race today. That is unfortunate, but still here today to watch the broadcast and show his support for Tristan Marshall and team. Also, Cody Graham's giving a shout out to Weston Epps here, as well as we see Jeff Schroeder, the number 73 machine, getting off track here just by a little bit, able to bring it to a stop here. And luckily here at Interlagos, there seems to be a lot of runoff for these drivers. So hopefully, if anyone does get into a bit of a mishap, they can get that car slowed down in time before they make any contact with the barriers and anything like that. You don't definitely want to try and avoid that as much as you can. Replacing a set of bald-spotted tires is a lot easier than replacing an entire race car. So drivers will do their best in that regard, but things still happen, and that's why they are called accidents or incidents, if you will. So with less than 10 minutes left here in qualifying, Leonard Schneebel still at the very, very tippy top of the pole here with a 127.433 as his best time. Going to separate himself from Alex Johnson by 0.3 of a second. And Alex Johnson still has yet to find a response here. Jeff Schroeder just absolutely sending it into the pits there, it looked like. Marian Barbaro we're looking at now, along with teammate Victor Solona here in 7th and 8th place. They're going to see if they can improve their times here with just under 7 minutes left here to go. Not a whole lot of time going to be left here, but still enough to get a few more laps in to try and get those times that these drivers are potentially looking for, especially that of Alex Johnson. I mean, I'm sure he's probably not too worried about it at this point, but just seeing that Leonard having that extra 0.3 of pace here in qualifying, I mean, if he's going to start up in the front row, you've really got to wonder, you know, how aggressive do you need to be on the start to fight for this lead. In Alex Johnson's case, I mean, he's fighting for a championship right now. He's fighting for that driver's championship. He's maybe not necessarily worried too much about a constructor's championship. Maybe some of his teammates might be able to help in that regard, to be able to push their way up the field, secure more points for their team, and be able to walk away with a championship, a two-time championship, if you will. But for Alex Johnson, I think purely his intentions, that's no pun intended with that. But Alex, I think he is purely going to be focused on just trying to score as many points as he can here today. And I think Leonard Schneebel is going to be the only thing standing in his way from achieving that goal here. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this race is going to start with these two drivers. We've seen Leonard do very well in the past few races. We've seen Alex Johnson obviously dominate the series for quite some time now, as far as from a individual driver's perspective. As far as the team perspective, that's a little bit of a different story. Both we have Alex Johnson as well as Andre Salander, I believe who that was, getting a little off track, or that might have been someone else. I don't think that was. Either way, we're watching here with Victor Salona in the same section of track that we just watched Alex Johnson go off there as well. And I think that might be a little bit of insight into where the troubles are coming for, are kind of happening here for Alex Johnson, and here for Victor Salona as well. It looks like not quite having a good lap this time around, as found himself just a little bit too deep into the grass there a couple times, but he's recovered from it now. But while we've only got just a couple minutes left here, let's go ahead and ride on board with Rachel Jimenez. Let's see what she's got for the number 67 machine, and just kind of get a little bit of an idea of what the track actually looks like down on the ground here for these drivers, and just kind of give us a first-hand look at what a lap looks like here at Interlagos. Here with Rachel Jimenez in the number 67 machine, driving for Lumos eMotorsports. That was a lap on board with Rachel Jimenez, the number 67 driver with Lumos eMotorsports, taking it across the line here. 6th place at the moment here for herself and for her teammates. Let's take a look here and see where some of her teammates might be lying at the moment. Mikkel Stenerud going to be 17th in the number 17 machine, currently 14th. Whoa! Someone was way bent out of shape there. Rachel very, very close to making contact with that driver. I'm not sure who it was there. But very, very surprising to see drivers just stuck in the middle of the track like that. I mean, we've seen a couple incidents here today, but none like that yet. Hopefully that doesn't transpire into the actual feature race itself or the sprint race, but we will just have to wait and see here, as we are just now a minute left to go before qualifying wraps up here. The checkered flags will wave, and we will get things ready to go for the start of our feature race. 28 laps here at Interlagos, and some exciting racing that I think we will expect to see here from both our feature as well as our sprint race here tonight. It's Frederick Larson. Oh, I think might have clipped the pit wall there, trying to come across the line, or at least trying to cut down the track here a little bit. Marian Barbaro going to be the last driver out on track here at the moment, and with only just a couple seconds left here, he will be the last remaining driver to come across the line, and there it is. The checkered flags wave, and we get ourselves ready for the start of our feature race. Let's go ahead and run through our starting lineup. Up in the front row, Leonard Schneebel, Alex Johnson, with Jake Potts and Weston Epps going to be in the second row. Jeff Schroeder, Rachel Lee Jimenez going to be in the third row. Marian Barbaro, Victor Solona going to take the fourth row, with Frederick Larson, Andre Solander in the fifth row. Arturo Mayorga, Frank Beezer taking up the sixth row as we move ourselves down the lineup. John Kearney, Mikkel Stannerud going to be in the seventh row, with Tristan Marshall, Andy Ray Miller in the eighth row, and Jack Clark rounding out the field here in 17th. As we await now for the 5 red lights to tick away here, and we set the field off for the first lap here at Interlagos. Some exciting racing for the final race of the season, the championship round for the iFormula League. Formula 3 Series. Just awaiting now for those 5 red lights. Just under a minute left to go here. Just patiently awaiting for any drivers left to make their way down to their starting box and get themselves ready to kick things off here. Alrighty, here we go. And lights are out, and away we go. The green flag drops from the flag stand as drivers scrap for positions in the midfield. Leonard Schneebel going to get away from the rest of the pack. Alex Johnson going to still be in second place. His teammate just behind him, with Jake Potts separating them. We've got trouble up towards the front of the field. Leonard Schneebel, he's going to go off. In a big trouble here for Alex Johnson, as he's going to have to go way wide. He falls back to 13th now. Weston Epps takes the lead. He's going to be all the way up the front of the field with Jeff Schroeder. Jake Potts also going to be on his heels at the moment as the field makes their way almost 3 wide. And it is going to be 3 wide up towards the front of the field. The battle for the lead only intensifying. Jake Potts going to be all the way on the outside. They almost bump wheels. Jake Potts goes off. Jeff Schroeder continues on. Weston Epps still in second place. A little bit of a wee bobble. Oh, it's more trouble here towards the midfield. Multiple drivers getting involved. Alex Johnson, Frank Beezer, Jack Clark, all of these drivers all getting collected in with one another. Jeff Schroeder, Weston Epps, Victor Solona, all still taking the top 3 here at the moment. Jeff Schroeder, his teammate of Alex Johnson, all the way towards the back of the field now. It's up to Jeff Schroeder here for Team Intense Sim Racing to keep things up here. in this 28 lap feature, and already calamity all over the track here at Interlagos. No yellow flag that we've seen yet, as more calamity. It is just chaos here in the opening lap here at Interlagos. It just does not end here, folks. We'll have to go back and digest some of the replays here once we get them available, but man, oh man, things are not looking good here for a lot of drivers, a lot of teams. It is chaos here at Interlagos. Jeff Schroeder still in your lead with Victor Solona in second. Marian Barbaro, his teammate, going to be in that third place spot. Weston Epps, Frederick Larson going to be side by side, battling for the fourth place position, as they make their way now. Single file here with one another, and I gotta tell you folks, pit road is looking mighty busy at the moment. We can take a look at that here as best as we can. You can see multiple drivers down here trying to get their cars worked out here, trying to utilize those fast repairs that drivers can use during these races. I think it's one or two, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I know that when drivers get into sticky situations like that, that fast repair can be an absolute lifesaver, but you only can use it once or twice. Again, depending on what the limit is set to here, but I know that there is a limit, and if you run out of those fast repairs, you are going to be down there for a long time, or until the next, well, in this case, until the start of the sprint race before you can get back out on track. Jake Potts, Andre Solander, going to be duking it out here for 7th place here. The number 41 machine going to move himself up into that 7th place position. Down 4 spots still from where he started. And again, folks, just absolute chaos here today at Interlagos. Marian Barbaro, Victor Solona going to be here in 2nd and 3rd place, with Jeff Schroeder still holding on to that lead, and now starting to build a little bit of distance between himself and the rest of the field. Let's see if his teammate Alex Johnson is going to be able to recover from the just absolute tragedy that we've seen for the start of this race. Let's go back to the very beginning and let's just digest exactly how things unfolded here, because it has just been a lot here. We'll start off right at the very beginning when the green flag drops here. We'll watch Alex Johnson here as Leonard Schneebel has an issue right there. Gets on the curve, gets sent sideways. Alex Johnson having to go real wide. Falls back all the way 13th, I believe it was. And then from there, it only continues to get worse. I mean, if we come up here to the blimp camera, hopefully we get a little bit of a better picture of what happens down here on track, because frankly, folks, it was just chaos. We'll come back to that here in just a minute as we'll try and find more of that. Here is another instant replay involving Jake Potts here. Goes off track into the wall. And it is just a spin fest here for Jake Potts as he tries to recover and get himself back into the groove of things. Not exactly an ideal situation at all here for Jake Potts. And if we come up here a little bit further, and here's the incident involving Alex Johnson, which cascades into even worse event here involving 3 different drivers. A very rocky start to the final round, the championship round of the iFormula League Formula 3 Series. And I gotta say, one of the most chaotic starts I have ever seen for this league. This is definitely not typical for this league. I have been broadcasting now for almost, I want to say, 2 years now, and there are very few leagues where crazy starts like that are normal. And here it's just astonishing to me to see how chaotic today has been for these drivers. It is just incredible. The amount of tension going into turn one, and not even really necessarily tension. I think things were calm and steady there for a moment, and it was a domino effect, essentially. Just one thing led to another. Multiple people, multiple drivers, all kind of getting thrown through every which loop, every direction. Point being, it was a very interesting start, but now things have settled out. It's lap 5 of number 28. Everyone is back out there on track except for Rachel Jimenez, Frank Beezer. Both of these two drivers still going to be down there in the pits here at the moment, and it looks like while we were not looking here, Weston Epps had a little bit of trouble here just a bit ago. He's still out here on track and sitting in 8th place at the moment, but he's down 4 spots from where he was. Let's see exactly what caused this little bit of a hiccup here for Weston. Same curb that caught Leonard off guard. Oh, and again here, gonna find himself off track. This is not Weston is not having a good start to the race here either, and frankly, I think this whole race, this whole start of this race has kind of been, oh man. Victor Solona taking the lead at the moment with Jeff Schroeder in that 2nd place spot. I'm not sure where Jeff Schroeder fell off. I'm not sure where the pass was made, but Victor Solona in the lead at the moment with Jeff Schroeder in 2nd. Marian Barbaro going to be in that 3rd place position. Victor Solona with Team Get Good Racing having his teammate there in 3rd place. I'm sure both of these drivers are feeling very, very good at this point. Oh, whoa. Who in the world? I am not sure who that was, but someone was definitely in a very peculiar spot. Luckily, it does not seem like any other driver made contact with them, but oh boy. Michael. Or Mikel, I'm sorry, the number 17 driver catching himself into the wall, that same spot on the track where we've seen multiple drivers having issues with getting onto that curbing. It definitely upsets the car, and it can, we've seen it already, it just absolutely ruins the lap for anyone that tries to go that route. It's just astonishing. We're watching Frederick Larson, Marian Barbaro have a relatively loose battle here for the 2nd place position. Not exactly neck and neck at the moment, but I'm sure that Frederick is going to be working to bring that distance closer as Marian Barbaro goes off. And that's going to push Frederick up into that 2nd place spot. With relative ease here, Frederick not having to do anything other than just be there. And here he comes back across the checkered line here and going to be in 2nd for our very, very exciting feature race here today. 8 laps that we've completed, 20 left to go, and I am just more curious to see how this thing is going to end here. As Jeff Schroeder, Marian Barbaro, they're both going to come down into pit road. I'm assuming to probably get some work done to both of their machines. And Victor Solona, Frederick Larson going to stay out on track here, as now Andre Solander and Alex Johnson push their way back up into 3rd and 4th place. So Alex Johnson, even after a very rough start, keeping his head in the game, keeping his head down as far as trying to keep out of the way of any other possible incidents here and just focus on his racing as he moves his way up into third place, with Andre Salander dropping down into fourth, and Alex Johnson currently showing he's outpacing the rest of the field. But for the leaders at the moment, it seems like they've actually got the pace on him by just a little bit. I'm not certain whether or not that's going to stay the same here for the next couple laps here, or just for the time that Alex Johnson needs to kind of get some distance between himself and everyone else that he's got around him at the moment, just get some clean air to work with. And as I'm saying that, it looks like timing and scoring showing that the 196 machine starting to show that pace that we are expecting to see from him, as he's going to continue to work his way towards the front of the field, and I'm sure eventually probably put up a fight here with Victor Salona and Frederick Larson for that first and second place spot. As we're seeing Jake Potts, Jeff Schroeder battling for 7th here at the moment. Let's break down a little bit what the Constructors Championship is kind of looking like and where the teams currently are. So with Victor Salona all the way at the front of the field at the moment, again, Get Good Racing having a fantastic day here. Marian Barbaro, one of his teammates, was up there towards the front of the field in that top 3 spot, but after that little bit of an incident getting into the grass there, that allowed Frederick Larson to move up into 2nd place, Marian dropping it down into 9th place. Jack Clark, the other teammate here for Get Good Racing, the 197 driver, going to be in 8th place here at the moment, up 9 spots from where he started today. So both drivers, or all 3 drivers I should say, going to be in the top 10, and with Victor Salona currently holding on to the lead, if he can stay in the lead, that is going to be a good day for Get Good Racing. They're 294 points behind Knox eMotorsports for that lead. And if I'm not mistaken, they're going to be almost 200 points behind Intense Sim Racing in 2nd place at the moment. So I don't think they're going to be exactly moving up any spots here today, but they are definitely going to be closing that gap here just by a bit if they can continue on the path that they're heading right now. So for Get Good Racing, it's a good day for them, and only 18 laps left to go before we officially wrap up our feature race and move on into our sprint. So if they can come away with a win here and 2 top 10s for themselves for the feature, I think that'll be a good points day for Get Good Racing, and Victor Salona will be able to come away, hopefully, for himself, be able to walk away with a win. That will always be a satisfying feeling, especially for the championship round. Frederick Larson going to be in that 2nd place position, going to be driving for Team Orion Legendary Racing, and Frederick kind of, I don't want to say unlucky here, but his teammates, Danny O'Keefe and Abdul Aliyu, not able to be here today. So going to be driving on his own for Team Orion Legendary Racing, but not exactly putting him out of the ballpark of things, as he's currently sitting in that 2nd place spot and doing quite phenomenal there at the moment. So not exactly having the worst day for Team Orion Legendary Racing, but it always could be better, and I'm sure it would be a little bit more welcoming out there for Frederick if he had a teammate out there or 2. But sometimes schedules get in the way of things. Real life gets in the way of sim racing. It happens. But moving on down, Alex Johnson, the driver we all know very, very well here at this point. Alex Johnson driving for Intend Sim Racing. His teammates at the moment, John Journey as well as Jeff Schroeder, both putting on fantastic performances here today. Jeff Schroeder leading the race for a little bit, falling down into 5th now at the moment. His other teammate, John Journey, going to be 13th here at the moment. So John's going to be trying to work his way into the top 10, secure a little bit more points here for the team. Alex Johnson, again, purely focused, hyper-focused probably on those championship points, trying to secure that championship title and come away with a win at the end of the day. Probably wants to come away with that win, but it is still going to be a fight to get to that point. As, again, Frederick Larson is just under 22 seconds from Alex Johnson here at this point. And 22 seconds isn't exactly, well, it's not a lot, but it's also not a little bit either. It's going to take some time for Alex Johnson to dwindle down that time. And speaking of time, we're already lap 12 of 28. There's a very good potential here that it just might not be enough time here on track to be able to get that down, but we'll have to wait and see. Alex Johnson, he is phenomenal behind the wheel, and I'm more than certain that he has some tricks up his sleeves, or at least just the consistency that we've seen out of the 196 machine in past races. Hopefully we'll get to see that here in the later half, or, well, now what would be, I guess you could say, the latter half of the race. Consistency is always plays a huge part in a lot of different driver success. If you can just keep flicking off laps the same way that you have been the entire race and stay quick and stay fast, not try and burn off your tires too quickly, not try and burn unnecessary fuel, so on and so forth, you can usually come away pretty well. You might not be winning every single race, but I can tell you, you will definitely be securing points almost every single race. So you don't always have to be the fastest out on track. You just have to make sure you're there to see the checkered flag. That's kind of the best way to think about it. And you know, once you kind of get into that mindset, it almost becomes second nature. But we've got some great racing, great battles happening here for the 4th place spot. Whoa, boy. Jeff Schroeder, Weston Epps, they're going to be right wheel to wheel with one another as they head off into turn number 1. Schroeder going to be on the inside, Epps on the outside. Let's see if he hops that curb. No, he does not. Keeps it clear. Schroeder's going to be with the rear wing right on the end of Weston Epps' number 4 machine as they hightail it down to the sharp left-hander, or the fast left-hander that we have here. Schroeder takes it back onto the inside. Webb's going to be stuck on the outside here as they stick wheel to wheel yet again. Schroeder going to have a little bit of an advantage here as he had the outside there, able to carry a little bit more pace. Epps having to back off just a little bit to make the turn and allow Schroeder to, well, have enough room so he doesn't collide with him. But Schroeder currently sitting in that 4th place position, going to hold on to that spot here as Epps continues his battle here at the moment. Riding on board here with the number 4 driver, just getting a closer look at the battle here from the perspective of Weston. So Jeff Schroeder, Weston Epps continue the battle for 4th place. Schroeder now going to be back into that 5th place position as Weston Epps going to hold on to his 4th place spot, trying to defend it here yet again. These two are going to continue to scrap for this position for what I imagine to be for some time until one of them makes a mistake. Last time by, it was Jeff Schroeder in the lead in this position. Now it's Weston Epps, and he's going to get an opportunity to hopefully try and get a little bit of distance between himself and that number 73 machine if he also possibly can. that might be a little bit of a tall order here, as Schroeder seems to be on a mission here and is showing a very good pace here. The number 73 all over the rear end of that number 4 Noxie Motorsports driver, Weston Epps. Going to take it across the line here once again, and still in 4th place as Schroeder getting that draft and able to swing around the side of Weston Epps there for a moment, but not able to carry that momentum into turn 1. Going to have to back off there and fall behind the number 4 driver yet again. But let's take a look at some of the other battles happening out here on track. Tristan Marshall, Andy Ray Miller, both going to be in a bit of a battle here for 10th position. As these two are going to take it side by side. And right as I was about to mention it, Frederick Larson, who had yet to come down into the pits, is now making that decision to come down, get a fresh set of tires, fill up on fuel, and so on and so forth. Just about 12 laps left to go before we see the checkered flag, and we end things out here today for our feature race. But at the moment, it is Victor Solona, Frederick Larson, Weston Epps, all your top 3 here at the moment. As again, folks, it started off very chaotic for the start of today's race, and with only 12 laps left to go, multiple drivers having to try and work their way back up to the front, or have even opted to just take it behind the wall and call it a day here, at least for the feature. Hopefully we'll see some drivers return for the sprint race, but it looks like Leonard Schneebel, Mikkel Stenerud, as well as Frank Beezer, all taking it behind pit wall here and have decided that enough's enough. They've had enough, and they are just gonna watch it from the pits here today. And frankly, I don't blame them. With starts like that, with how many drivers were involved in those incidents, it does not surprise me that some drivers have decided that is not how they want to start their day or start their race, and they're just going to make the tough decision to stay out of it for today. So hopefully we'll see them again return for the sprint race and have a little bit of better luck this next time around. But for the time being, it looks to be, as we see Jeff Schroeder and Weston Epps come across the checkered line here, 17 of 28 laps, just about 10 laps left to go, and Victor Solona again still your race leader, with Frederick Larson in second, Weston Epps in that 3rd place position, and Alex Johnson here still in fifth place here at the moment, and looks to be has fallen off the pace here quite considerably. Actually, it looks to be because he came down into the pits just recently and is now going to be on a fresher set of tires, and hopefully going to be able to get the temperature in those tires here before too long. Because that, again, at the moment, timing and scoring showing that he is off the pace here just by a little bit. Not sure by how much. But Alex Johnson definitely taking things cautiously here, not trying to overdo it, as we've seen so much of already for this race. A lot of drivers finding themselves involved in incidents here, but at the moment, things are calm and steady as we get near the end of it. And Alex Johnson did have a crash. That's why. Let's take a look at the instant replay and see exactly what happened. As I seem to have missed it the first time, there it is. self-spin, but manages to have it correct itself and get pointed right back in the direction he needs to go. So no harm, no foul. Oh, maybe just a little bit of rubber burned off of those tires, and Alex is still out here. He's still racing, still having a good race, I would say, overall. Hopefully still going to have enough points after the end of the feature and after, well, really today in general, to retain that lead for the championship, and I think he might be able to do so with today. But again, we'll have to wait and see once things are all said and done, and who will be determined the winner here, or the champion of season number 5 of the iFormula Formula 3 series. Riding on the front wing here of Andy Ray Miller in the 333 machine. Just getting a little bit of a look here. Marian Barbaro starting to feel a little bit of pressure here from Jake Potts as he closes in on the rear end of that number 13 machine, going through the same section of track where we've seen many drivers make an error here, and Jake Potts makes it through just a-okay and able to move around Marian Barbaro on the inside as Marian got a little bit too wide there and has to fall down into 6th place at this point in time. Jake Potts doing an absolutely incredible job here for Team Noxie Motorsports, sitting in that 5th place spot with teammates with Jake Potts and his teammates Weston Epps and Jack Clark. I apologize for the silence. That was, I got myself confused there. When I said Jake Potts and Jack Clark were teammates, that was incorrect. Jack Clark is a part of Get Good Racing. Jake Potts is of Noxie Motorsports. Jake Potts, his teammate, Weston Epps, is going to be out there at the moment. As it looks like, well, not it looks like, as last week we heard from James Miller that he wouldn't be able to attend today's race, so unfortunately not going to see Miller having the fight for the lead that we probably would like to see here, but that's all right. Victor Solona, I'm sure that James Miller probably wouldn't want to see all the chaos from today's race anyway. That probably would have put a damper on things just a little bit. But either way, Noxie Motorsports team is doing very, very well at the moment, even despite all of the calamity at the start of today's event. So Victor Solona with Get Good Racing going to have a very, very good day for himself and team, as they are just under 8 laps left here at Interlagos. Frederick Larson going to be in that 2nd place spot and going to score good points for Orion Sim Racing or Orion Legendary Racing, as we see Jake Potts off track here. very difficult track that it seems to be here at Interlagos. A lot of drivers trying to push the limits of the track here, but it is very, very easy to overdo it, it seems like. And it looks to be as well, some of the curbing here, it seems to be a little deceiving. We'll see if we can ride on the nose camera, or yeah, the nose camera of Jake Potts' 41 machine here, and see if we can kind of see some of the spots on the track here where drivers might be having some issues with, where the curbing kind of protrudes a little bit and unsettles the car. We can kind of see it for the eagle-eyed among you. You might be able to spot some sections. And you can see some parts too where the curbing kind of even dips inward, or is kind of concave, if you will. So it's very interesting. Again, this is my first time here at Interlagos, so I have never had the opportunity to turn any laps here at this particular track. So I'm not exactly all that experienced with what it's like to drive here at this track. So where things might feel a little odd or might be a little difficult for drivers, I'm not entirely too certain of. I'm purely just getting the information from what I'm seeing, and from what I can tell, it seems like there are just a couple problem child spots here on this track that are just causing headaches for a few different drivers and for some teams here. But with about 5 laps left to go here at this point in the race, I mean, your only goal as a driver now is purely just survive. Try not to overdo it. Try not to push yourself too much here, and try not to let anyone overtake you. I mean, that's pretty much the goal at this point. Lap 24 of 28, Marian Barbaro and Andre Solander, Weston Epps, in a little bit of a close bout here for the for the 5th place position. Only a few tenths of a second separating these drivers here at the moment, and right now, everyone is just looking to take it across the line safe and sound, all in one piece, and not trying to overdo it for themselves here at the moment, as Marian Barbaro, Andre Solander, Weston Epps continue their battle here. Marian able to escape from it just a little bit. Andre Solander, Weston Epps, they're going to go wheel to wheel for just a moment. Epps going to fall back into that 7th place position. Now going to have Andre Solander to try and work around here, and I gotta say, that is one heck of a pit exit if I've ever seen one. Less than 3 laps left to go here for the final round, the championship race for the IFL Formula 3 Series here at Interlagos before we get ready to see our sprint race for today. 7 laps that we will have, and we will see then the field get inverted for the start of our sprint race. I believe it was the top 8 is who is going to get inverted here tonight. As the field has settled out here, things are calm and quiet, at least for the most part. As I say that, Marian Barbaro has a big issue here collecting Andre Solander in it, as well as potentially Jake Potts. I'm not sure if he got a little bit of contact from that here as well, but big issues here in the final few laps. And Weston Epps also going to come down into pit road with only a few laps left to go. Jake Potts as well. Marian Barbaro also going to join the mix. As Victor Solona, Frederick Larson, Jeff Schroeder, your top 3 drivers, all still out on track. And folks, I don't know what to make of this at the moment, as we're having late race pit stops getting involved here, and now seeing some racing as Weston Epps comes out of pit road right alongside Andre Solander. He's going to fall right behind him, but get right on the tail here. And with those cold tires, I mean, fresh cold tires, that is going to be a bold move to try and be fast on those with only 3 laps left. I mean, you can make it work, but it's going to be a tricky fight, especially if you're trying to make up for lost time or lost positions. It's not going to be an easy one, but if you're confident, if you're calm, and really just try not to make any crucial mistakes, I think it can work out in your favor sometimes. Alex Johnson as well going to come down into pit road for the final time, as we now see lap 27 of 28 on the top left side of our screens. Victor Solona only going to take it across the line one final more time after this lap, and it will be the end of the race here today, or of our feature race here at Interlagos before we kick off our sprint race. Weston Epps going to be right on the tail here down the long straight, heading off into turn number 1. They go side by side almost there for a moment. Weston Epps potentially, I think, might have backed off a little bit more than he probably intended to. But Andre Solander going to be in that 5th place position here, as Alex Johnson's in 4th, Schroeder in 3rd, Larson in 2nd, and Solona in that 1st place position. White flag is out. It is the last chance to dance for these drivers and for the feature race here today. And for Victor Solona and Team Get Good Racing, it is going to be a huge big day for these teams, as Weston Epps, Andre Solander side by side. They are pushing it all the way to the end here. Weston Epps going to be out on the inside as they come through the final few turns here at Interlagos. Weston Epps still going to try and stay on the tail here of the number 140 of Andre Solander as they come out of the final turn. Weston Epps going to try and get into the slipstream as close as he possibly can. Going to try and take it across the line. Nearly 0.2 of a second separating these drivers. And it is a close finish for both of these two. Excuse me, not a finish. It is a close battle here as they almost touch wheels going through turns 1 and 2. Andre Solander, Weston Epps putting up a heck of a fight here in the final lap here at Interlagos. As Victor Solona, he takes it. He's going to come out of the final turn as well and take it across the line. We'll see the checkered flag fly in just a moment, but meanwhile, the battle for 5th place continues on between these two drivers, taking it nearly side by side, almost touching wheels. Oh, and they make contact. Weston Epps goes off. Andre Solander, he's going to continue on into that 5th place position. Weston Epps going to try and make a quick recovery here. I don't think he can. He can't, as he brings it down into pit road. It is a tragic end for the number 4's race here today. The checkered flag is out. Multiple drivers going to take it across the line here, finishing out their race. Victor Solona, Jeff Schroeder, Alex Johnson, they take it home for your top 4 positions here as we await for the remainder of the field to make it across the line here as well. Tristan Marshall, Arturo Mayorga going to be in a relatively, I would say, a loose battle that we have here at the moment. Just about a half a second separating these drivers at the moment. And there it is, across the line for the remainder of the field, and that is going to be the end of our feature race here today. A very, very wild feature that we had here today, folks. I don't have any other words to describe how today started, but it ended well, and I think for Victor Solona, it is a very, very good day for himself and team. Get good racing. But we have a very short 5-minute break that we will have here for drivers to get another warm-up session and get themselves reacclimated, or at least just take a quick break. Such like the one that we're going to take here for just a couple minutes up here in the booth. And when we return, we will be back for more action here with the iFormula League for the championship round of the Formula 3 season for season number 5. Folks, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere because we're going to be back for more racing right here on the Team Goon Squad YouTube channel. Don't want to miss it. Stick around. We'll be back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Alrighty, folks, welcome back. As we just have a few seconds left to wrap up our warm-up session here and get ourselves ready to go for the start of our sprint race here today. And folks, it's going to be yet another exciting race here for our sprint race, 7 laps that we'll have here at Interlagos, and I can only hope that it is a better start than what we saw for the feature for these drivers. Let's hope that one thing doesn't turn into multiple other things, and let's hope that it's a better start than what we had for the feature. I'm repeating myself here, but I think you all get the idea at this point. So, drivers getting themselves onto the starting grid and getting themselves lined back up, ready to go and kick things off here, waiting for the 5 red lights to tick away, and we let the field go for our short sprint race. And let's see how things are going to kick off here. John Journey, Weston Epps going to be up at the front of the field with Arturo Mayorga, Andy Ray Miller in second. In the second row, Jake Potts, Tristan Marshall in the third row, Marian Barbaro, Andre Solander in the fourth row, Alex Johnson, Jeff Schroeder in the fifth row, Frederick Larson, Victor Solona in the sixth row, Jack Clark, Rachel Jimenez going to be in the seventh row, Leonard Schneebel, Mikkel Stenerud in the seventh row, and Frank Beezer rounding out the field here today. And there it is, the 5 red lights going to count themselves out here, and out they go, and away we go for the first time yet again for the sprint race. Weston Epps going to be up at the front of the field. John Journey, Arturo Mayorga all going to try and take this one 3 wide off into turn number 1. Let's see if anything happens here for any of these drivers. So far, so clean. And as I say that, Jake Potts gets a big collection here. Oh my, it just gets worse and worse. Rachel Jimenez involved in this one. Alex Johnson as well. Alex is not having the race that he wanted to have here today and could potentially have big implications into the Drivers' Championship here today. Weston Epps going to be off in the front of the field and able to build up quite a bit of a distance between himself and the rest of the pack, as we still see some drivers struggling on this start, but majority of the field looking good after what was a little bit of a tricky situation to deal with in turns 1 and 2. Andre Solander, Marian Barbaro going to be the closest battles that we have at the moment. The battle for third place nearly going to be wheel to wheel with these two drivers. Just behind them, though, more action developing. John Journey almost getting collected into the side of Frederick Larson. Victor Solona going to try and squeeze it 3 wide here, and it's not going to be quite enough room for all 3 of these drivers to make it through quickly with one another. But the battle continuing for 7th place. Arturo Mayorga and Jeff Schroeder continuing their battle for 5th place. Weston Epps, Andy Ray Miller, Marian Barbaro going to be your top 3 here at the moment as we come across the line, bringing us lap 2 of 7 here at Interlagos. The sprint race off to a phenomenal start here. A couple drivers going to fall down into the pits to potentially get a fast repair, get something done to their cars that they need, or it might even just be the end of their race here today. Jack Clark, and as well as Frank Beezer, all going to get into the mix with one another here. And Frank Beezer pulling a hat trick move up into 8th place, a number 61 machine on a mission in, according to timing and scoring, is doing very well pace-wise. We'll see if that continues to develop here for the number 61 driver, but at the moment, looks like the top 5 has settled out here. Most of these drivers have a bit of distance to work with between themselves and the next driver, so hopefully things stay green and clear for them up there in the top 5. But here in the midfield, things are still a little chaotic, where we've got some battles happening. But the battles are staying clean for the most part, and we're not seeing Much the same issues that we were seeing towards the start of the feature race. As we come across the line, it's lap 3 of 7. These laps are gonna quickly go by for these drivers. Gonna ride on board here with Arturo, the number 2 driver with Team Maxwell Racing. Gonna be sitting in that 7th place position at the moment, and you can listen to the throttle input here by Arturo, and you can actually see it on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Just the amount of finesse that these drivers have to use to take it around this track and around some of the long sweeping turns that we have here, especially this one like we're seeing now, where you're hearing the drivers kind of feather the throttle a little bit, try and get that finite control that they need to be able to stay quick around this track. And at the moment, now that everyone's got a little bit of room to work with, they seem to have gotten things pulled together by quite a bit. Weston Epps currently dominating the track at the moment with about 2 seconds separating himself and the next driver, Andy Ray Miller, sitting in that 2nd place position. So as we're starting to see some of these battles dissipate here, and drivers using the room that they now have on track to try and keep themselves in the mix of things. Taking a look down in pit road, we see Alex Johnson actually he's still down there over almost 5 minutes that he's been down in pit road, and I don't think he's going to make a return back out onto track here. I think Alex is pretty much acknowledged how today has gone for himself, and perhaps maybe it was just not I'm really not certain. There's a lot of drivers that struggled here today. It seems to be that there are just certain parts of this track that if you push the limits on them just too much, even just an inch, it can just ruin your race. And there are plenty of other tracks like that on the iRacing service, as well as in real life. There's a lot of different tracks in the world that really just are difficult to race on. But again, we will see just how this one's going to finish out for the remainder of the field and for the remainder of our sprint race here, as at the moment we still have just under 2 laps left to go here. And apologies for those of you that were looking for the interval times on the timing tower, but it's there now. I apologize for that. Jeff Schroeder, Frederick Larson, they start to become the closest battle out here on track. And actually, I want to take a moment to ride from the helmet camera here of Frederick Larson, and this is going to give us an even better idea of what it's like out here on track, and see potentially where some of the parts on track are that, drivers we're seeing them struggle with. Oh. Driver facing the wrong direction here. As we're on lap 6 of 7, and once Weston Epps comes across the line next time by, The white flag will fly, and it will be the last chance to dance as Jeff Schroeder and Andre Solander both going to take it nearly wheel to wheel. The battle for fourth place continuing on here, and they're going to see if they can make anything of it. Jeff Schroeder trying to secure some points. Andre Solander trying to get into that top 5. Or at least stay in the top 5 here, and even come away with a few points for himself and his team. Side-by-side battles as we've got a driver off in the grass. Frederick Larson trying to send it here and gets a little bit too close for comfort. Jeff Schroeder's off, and he gets punted off the track here. Frederick Larson now going to be in that 5th place position. Jeff Schroeder now going to be falling all the way to 7th position as the white flag is out, and it could not have come out at a worse time. Frederick Larson really pushing the limits there, and I don't know. I think there's potentially going to be some words being exchanged after this race because of that one. You know, that was definitely an aggressive maneuver at that, and I'll leave it up to the stewards and to the drivers themselves to determine what was going on there, but that is my 2 cents, and is for what they're worth. And Marion Barbaro, Andy Ray Miller, it's a battle, a shootout, a drag race to the checkered line. Marion Barbaro just ahead by a few inches, and Andy Ray Miller comes across the line just behind in that 3rd place spot. Though, as we were almost going to have a couple other battles out here on track, they disintegrated before we could come across the checkered line here, but there it is, folks, the checkered flag waving and drivers coming across the line here and going to conclude their race here today. Rachel Jimenez, the number 67 machine, takes it across the checkered line here, as well in 12th place position. Tristan Marshall in 13th, just coming through the final few turns here and going to complete his race here today, as well as that's going to wrap up our sprint race. Weston Epps coming away with the win, and Marion Barbaro going to come away in 2nd. And while we await for the drivers to make their way across the line, and we potentially we'll see our drivers make their way down into our broadcast waiting room so we can get started with our post-race interviews. And let's go ahead and actually take a look at our post-race results here. And here it is, our post-race results for our feature race. So Victor Solona, Frederick Larson coming away first and second place for our feature event. Jeff Schroeder in 3rd, Alex Johnson in 4th, Andre Solander in 5th, just to round out our top 5. And then moving on into our sprint race, coming away with the win, Weston Epps and Marion Barbaro in 2nd place, with Andy Ray Miller in 3rd, Andre Solander in 4th, and Arturo Mayorga in that 5th place position. So, With that being said, let's go ahead and get started with our first interview of the day, starting with Frederick Larsen. Frederick joining us in the booth here, coming away in second place here for the feature event and coming away in seventh here in the sprint race. A very, very chaotic day here at Interlagos. I mean, Frederick, the opening lap here for the feature race, I mean, what kind of was going through your head when you just seen kind of cars just being thrown around left and right? I mean, I said it during the broadcast, this was very unusual and unorthodox for you drivers, for you guys here with IFL. I mean, it's just, we have not seen anything like this since we've started broadcasting with you guys. And I mean, just kind of what was going through your mind at the start of a feature race here today?
I don't know, actually. In the beginning, I forgot to change my brake bite point. Yeah, bite point. That is what it's called. So I had kind of a bad start where I wasn't concentrated at all, but I ended up getting actually a pretty good start, and then I don't know what happened actually on the first lap. I just drove. I didn't see any. I mean, I saw. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm just trying to remember now. Yeah, in my rear view mirror, that was basically just all chaos. Somebody behind me got taken out, and then in the next turn, somebody else was taken out. So, yeah, I was just happy not to be in any of it.
You know what? I think I would be very, very happy to not be involved in any of that as well. But Frederick, I mean, you had a phenomenal race here today, both your feature and your sprint race doing well, finishing with top tens and a podium as well for the feature. Last race of the season, you guys are gonna have a little bit of a break now. What's kind of your thought process here for the end of the season? What kind of goals do you want to try and accomplish going into season 6? Or, I mean, what's kind of your intentions here for going forward here?
I think I'm gonna do the Formula 1 season next season. So I might be a reserve driver in Formula 3, so I might still do some races, but my main goal is to be in top 3 in the Formula 1 season next
Absolutely.
season.
Well, absolutely. I certainly look forward to it. I don't know if we'll be able to do the broadcasting for the Formula 1 season for you guys, but I certainly will look forward to seeing you out there on track and turning some laps in the Mercedes, what is it, the W13 now, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. Well, Frederick, before I let you go here and celebrate and join your teammates and fellow drivers up there on the in victory lane, is there anyone watching the broadcast or anyone at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
I want to shout out to Danny, my teammate. He wasn't here today. He just had a child. So congrats to him. Yeah, and this is probably going to be our last season together. We've been teammates for 3 years, so we all were, or I were, running a tribute livery for him this race. So yeah, I want to shout out to him.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me up here in the booth, Frederick, and phenomenal racing all season, and I hope to get to see you sometime in the future, but if not, I wish you the best of luck and good luck to you in your future endeavors.
Yeah, you too.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me, and have a great night. Alrighty, folks, so Frederick Larsen coming away out of the booth here, second place in the feature and seventh in the sprint race. Up next, we have Mr. Weston Epps coming away with the win for the sprint race here today. I don't remember where you finished out in the feature. Frankly, it was quite the chaotic feature race that we had here today, Weston. But, I mean, you took that feature race, you came back and rebounded it, and you came away with a win in the sprint race. I mean, a chaotic race, to say the least, for both the feature as well as a little bit in the sprint. Weston, I mean, what was kind of your main strategy? What was really the only thing going through your head to try and keep you out there in the front and just stay in the lead?
Well, during the feature, I just wanted to survive. I wasn't very comfortable with the setup that I had on during the feature, so I know if I just had to, hang back and let the really fast guys go up front, I was just going for some points. But then we had the turn 1 collision, and I had to make a quick choice to try to go to the front or, let everybody behind me pass when I lifted. So I just decided to make a run for it, and I just couldn't get to grips with my setup under fuel during the feature race. But like you said, I did come back. I was looking for a P5, but me and Andre just racing too hard, and we just kind of had a racing incident, set me into the wall. Otherwise, I would have gotten P5 in the feature. But in the sprint, I knew that all I had to do was just get a good start. I wasn't really worried about anybody behind me. Anybody that was really a threat to my lap times was a couple places back. So I just knew I needed to get past John into T1, and then it was just going to be smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, it looked like once you were able to get to that clean air, I mean, it was, like you said, smooth sailing. You didn't really have much else to worry about. And frankly, I mean, once you had that distance, I mean, pretty much drivers behind you were making it a little bit easier for you in a sense because of all the different little off-track incidents that we were seeing. Just a lot of different issues drivers were having today with Interlagos. And that's kind of one of the big questions that I wanted to ask is, I mean, what was really the kind of the difficult part here at Interlagos? I mean, it just seemed like a lot of drivers were struggling with this track, and I'm not too familiar with this track. This is actually the first time I've ever been at Interlagos, so kind of fill me in. What's sort of the secret here?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the track temp right now, and it's almost 98 degrees Fahrenheit. And when qualifying started, it was at 80. So I think track temp was really the variable that threw a lot of people off. I mean, even me, I was able to put in practice, I was able to put down like 128 ones, but during the race under fuel, probably about 10 laps in, it started to get past the 90s, and I think there was just no grip for those low speed corners. And personally, my back just kept coming out, so I just had to keep catching it. But I would say the track temp around here is just a huge variable in Largos. It always is, with the Brazilian sun and when we get there. So the variance in track temp can make or break drivers. And depending if you want to lean more on your tires with mechanical grip, you're definitely going to suffer with a higher track temp as your tires just fall away.
Yeah, it definitely. Now that you mention it, and now that I've kind of realized it, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Being here in the Brazilian heat, right, pretty close to the equator, I would say that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I mean, Weston, it was a lot of great racing that we had here. To finish out the season, I'm sure for yourself and for your team, it looks like Noxie Motorsports did come away with the Constructors' Championship. So congratulations to both yourself and your team. You guys did absolutely incredible. Both yourself, James Malaire, I'm failing on the other name here. Jake Potts. There we go. All three of you have done phenomenal all season long, and unfortunately not able to have James here today, but he's here in spirit, of course. Weston, before I let you go, before you go and celebrate and crack open that very, very well-deserved cold one, is there anyone out there watching the broadcast, anyone at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
Well, I have to shout out my team. I mean, Jake, Alex, Rivera, Alex, Shauna, I mean, everybody on Nox and Lumos Motorsports. We're just a big family, and we really support each other and try to get the best out of us. I also want to thank Jeff Schroeder and John Journey, our ex-teammates. They're just really, really fun guys to be around, and they make the league all more better. And I would like to thank you for broadcasting these. When I'm only a reserve driver, so when I'm not here, I just watch the races, and you always make the races a little more exciting. So I'd like to thank you for commentating over our league this season.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully I get to come back for Season 6. We'll have to wait and do some talking with the admins afterwards, but we'll find out here in the near future. But Weston, thank you for joining me up here in the booth, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next race, and hopefully it's a little bit sooner than we think.
Exactly. Knox going for the 3-peat, baby. We'll be back.
Absolutely, Weston. You have yourself a good one, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.
You too, bud.
Alrighty, folks. Weston Epps out of the booth here, coming away with the win, not only for the sprint race, but for the Constructors' Championship here for the IFL Formula 3 Series. Up next, we have the last interview of the race here today. Mr. Marian Barbaro coming up here in second for the sprint race, and also second in the Drivers' Championship. Marian, you have had a phenomenal season, kind of a lone driver, if you will, that from what I can tell in the past few races that we've had. But every race that you've attended, you've been up there, top 3, top 5. Anywhere in that neighborhood, and I've said it in the past, consistency is key, and I think you are a very good example of that. Marian, kind of walk me through your race here today. It was a chaotic both feature and sprint race. I mean, what do you think helped you walk your way to victory lane here?
Well, the feature race was a mess for I think almost everyone in front. So we had a lot of crashes. Suddenly I was in P2 behind my teammate, Victor, and I thought, man, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need, because I needed to score 26 points today to get P2 in the standings. So I was really happy for that. But at the same time, I was seeing the guys behind me pushing. So I pushed too much in the last corner and I lost the car. And from there it went downhill because I had to pit, and I didn't had enough fuel to finish the race. So I needed to pit one more time, or I needed to save fuel. So I saved fuel for the second stint, and it was really painful to see losing 1 second, 1.5 seconds per lap just to make it to the end, the checkered line. So I was really happy when it ended, and I was also disappointed because I knew I threw the best opportunity for P2 in the standings. But then in the sprint race, I got lucky with the race start, and then I found myself in P3 chasing Andy Ray Miller. And from there, it was down to the last lap, last corner, last straight, and yeah, I will remember this end of the season for sure. It was really, it was something else. It was the best season I had in iFormula League, and also the best season I had in my sim racing hobby. So it's really good, and I just want to thank the admins and the ones that are looking over this league, and also all the drivers that I've raced with. It was impossible to get Alex. He is a very talented driver, and he's also a guy that helped me throughout the season with tips, with all kind of stuff. So I just want to give a shout out to him. Shout out to Jeff Schroeder. With him I practiced a lot, and to my teammates Victor and Jack.
Well, Marian, you pretty much summed it up here. I had more questions. Well, I had at least one more question for you, but you already answered it. So, Marian, you did phenomenal this season. You did phenomenal today. Carrying this momentum forward, hopefully into season 6 when that comes around. I mean, I hope to see you out there again, and hopefully get to see you competing for that championship again, because you were second. If in case you weren't aware, you were second in the Drivers' Championship. You were only separated by 132 points from Alex Johnson, and I think that's just absolutely incredible, given the caliber of driver that Alex Johnson is. And just the kind of racing that he's done in the past few races. But Marian, I want to thank you for joining me up here in the booth, and congratulate you on your race here today, as well as your second place finish in the championship. It is absolutely phenomenal to have you a part of this league, and being a part of the racing that you guys put on here. So Marian, thank you, and I hope to get to talk to you again here in the future.
Thank you. I want to end by saying that I really appreciate the broadcast that you did throughout the season, and I think you made our league look way better and improve the quality overall. So thank you, man, and I'll see you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words, and Marian, hope to get to talk to you again, and good luck to you going forward into next season.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great one. Alrighty, folks, and that is going to wrap it up here today, folks, for our championship round here for the iFormula League Formula 3 Series. A phenomenal championship round that we had here today. And Alex Johnson, for those of you that don't know already, he is our champion here for Season 5 of the IFL Formula 3 Series. It has been an incredible season, but not probably the way that Alex Johnson was intending to end the season off here. A rough end to it, but still coming away champion. Still got to be worth something in the end. So with that being said, folks, I want to thank each and every single one of you who has tuned in throughout the broadcast or throughout the season, and hopefully every single one of you who has tuned in enjoyed the broadcast and enjoyed what we do here with Team Goon Squad. I hope to see more of you going into next season for Season 6 here with iFormula League. We'll have to wait and see and find out and get a little bit more confirmation on that, but for now, for the time being, I look forward to seeing you all in the next one whenever that happens to be. And if you enjoyed what you saw, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that like button as well if you enjoyed what you saw here today. And for the foreseeable future, folks, we will see you when the next season starts. As always, thank you all for tuning in and watching. We could not be here without you all. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Bolts. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Borcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the 1-on-1 up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.